Imagine this: the Roman Empire never fell. In 476 AD, it didn't collapse, it simply kept going. Today's world would look completely different. One single turn in history would have changed everything. In real history, Rome fell for many reasons at once. The economy weakened and taxes grew unbearably heavy. The borders couldn't hold back the barbarian invasions anymore. The empire split into two, east and west. The western half collapsed completely in 476 AD, but the eastern half, Byzantium, survived another 1,000 years. So Rome fell is really only half the truth. What if the western half had survived too? Imagine this. In the 4th century, the emperors pushed through major reforms. The military, tax system, and government are completely restructured. The borders are reinforced, and peace treaties are made with the tribes. Migrants aren't treated as enemies, they're welcomed as citizens. Power is no longer centralized, it's shared across the regions. Rome stays one empire, but becomes far more flexible. This single decision changes the entire course of history. The Western Empire doesn't fall, it adapts and survives. Over the centuries, Rome shifts from a centralized empire into a federation. Each province governs itself, but all under one shared law. The Senate's power grows, while the emperor's authority shrinks. Democratic elements begin to emerge, little by little. The rule of law remains Rome's core, lasting legacy. In Europe, the familiar nation-states never come into being. Instead, one single Roman civilization spreads across the continent. Language, law, and culture stay unified across the entire continent. The very idea of a dark age never enters history at all. Libraries are never burned. Scientific knowledge is preserved without interruption. The legacy of the Library of Alexandria doesn't vanish. It keeps growing. Engineering, medicine, and mathematics continue advancing without pause. Concrete, aqueducts, and road building keep getting more advanced. Science doesn't wait for a renaissance. It just keeps moving forward. The Renaissance could arrive 1,000 years early, as soon as the 5th century. The printing press gets invented far earlier, too. This speeds up access to knowledge and spreads literacy faster. Technological progress ends up centuries ahead of where we are today. Christianity still remains the dominant religion, but its influence on political power develops very differently. Religion isn't fully separated from the state, but it never becomes a theocracy either. Philosophy, art, and logic continue on in the Roman tradition. Elements of Greco-Roman mythology stay woven into the culture. Latin remains the dominant language across the entire world. Modern English, Spanish, and French would sound completely different if they even existed. Perhaps everyone would simply speak one language, Latin. The nations we know, France, Germany, England, never come into existence. In their place, these regions simply remain Roman provinces. Rome's navy sets out to explore the Atlantic Ocean. Combined with Phoenician seafaring knowledge, long-distance voyages begin. Rome might discover the Americas 1,000 years before Columbus. These new lands are immediately absorbed as Roman provinces. North Africa also remains fully part of Roman culture. Islam emerges too, but under an entirely different historical context. Trade routes between East and West are never cut off. The Silk Road runs straight through Rome, uninterrupted, for centuries. One currency, one legal system. Trade grows without borders. The Mediterranean Sea simply remains one shared inland lake. Something like today's European Union exists 2,000 years early. Infrastructure, roads, bridges, is never allowed to fall into ruin. Wealth isn't distributed equally, but growth stays remarkably stable. The great cities, Rome, Alexandria, Constantinople, remain the centers of the world. Centers of science and technology all cluster within a single civilization. Competition slows down, but so does the pace of innovation. But that doesn't mean this world is without its flaws. One single empire means one single point of view dominates everything. Cultural diversity shrinks, and the world starts to feel uniform. Depending on a single center of power raises the stakes even higher. If Rome ever did fall one day, everything would fall along with it. So, stability comes bundled together with a brand new kind of risk. Historians call this kind of thinking counterfactual history. These ideas aren't meant to be exact, but they lead to deeper understanding. Why Rome fell and why it might not have. Both questions matter equally. Maybe the real lesson isn't that Rome survived, but that it fell. That fall gave rise to new nations, new languages, new ideas. The fall wasn't an ending, it was a new beginning. The diversity of today's world is a direct result of that very collapse. So, what if Rome never fell isn't a question about loss, it's a question about discovery. Maybe the world we're living in right now is the most interesting version of all, because in the end, it wasn't Rome that built it. We did.